kids. Fuck the kids? Yeah.
You have just tuned in to the Mag Nerd Podcast, your home for everything in music, anime, and gaming. What is up, guys? Show Enough the King here, back with another video, and today it is finally time for me to talk about this Netflix Masters of the Universe revelation drama bullshit going on in the YouTube and Twitter and just all in everything. Reason why I'm finally taking the time to talk about this now is because the show is premiering on Friday. Today is the 21st. It premieres on the 23rd. And the review embargo has lifted, so non-spoiler reviews are starting to come out. And after hearing the non-spoiler review, it has pretty much confirmed what everybody has been saying. But before I get into that, let me kind of backtrack for those who are not familiar and also provide my perspective before I talk about what was actually confirmed today. And primarily, this is going to be via Grace Randolph. She's a fantastic YouTuber. I trust her because, again, she is straight down the middle. She doesn't have any biases. Sometimes I agree with her, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I agree with her, but there are some times when I don't. But again, I respect her journalism, and I pretty much can go to her and get the gist and get the real, versus going to like an IGN or a GameSpot where clearly IGN has gone the way of the dodo, where they basically suck up to any calls that they can to keep clicks going to their fucking website. Fuck you, IGN. Anyway, so let me start from the beginning. So Masters of the Universe was a reboot being done by Kevin Smith through Netflix. They announced this thing well over a year ago, and another YouTube channel, Clownfish TV. Again, I wasn't too familiar with them, but I know they've had a lot of great takes on The Last Jedi, certain things of that matter. But again, I wasn't too familiar about Clownfish until probably at the start of the pandemic. I kind of found their channel and I subscribe, but again, I don't watch their content regularly. They came out about a year ago and they said that the new reboot from Kevin Smith is going to be problematic. And when they said that, they said three major things. They said that the show basically is going to be centered around Teela. They said that the girl that's with Teela is going to be her love interest. And they said that I can't remember what the third thing was, but the two main things was that He-Man is going to take a backseat to Teela and that she's going to have a lesbian girlfriend. And when that was said, Kevin Smith lost it. He basically went out there, tried to downplay it, saying, no, it's not true. You guys are lying. The fake news. He basically tried to blow their shit up and basically called them a liar. And that was about a year ago. So then, over the past like 4 to 5 months, things have started to slowly leak. And again, come to find out that everything they were saying was 100% correct. And, you know, Kevin Smith is a fucking liar. And again, let me, before I get started with the rant, because this is going to be a rant, let me just get one thing clear. I am not one of these like basement dwelling. Well, I am a basement dweller. I am in my basement. As we see, we're in the studio, we're in the man cave. You know, I got the toys on display behind me if you guys want to take a look at those. So I am a basement dweller technically, but I'm not one of these guys who are just like hating on things just to hate on it because, you know, women power, men do. I love everything, okay? Like Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my top 10 favorite series of all time. And again, that was led by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who actually does the voice of Teela. Again, I have been watching He-Man since the 80s. Now, granted, if you did a lineup of all the characters, could I name them all? Hell no. Again, this was back in the 80s. I was more of a fan of Thundercats anyway, but I did watch He-Man and I did watch She-Ra with my sister. Again, even when they rebooted He-Man, again, I believe it was 2011. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's when they rebooted it on Cartoon Network. I was a huge fan of that, and I watched that show as well. Very well received. The toys sold well. And again, everybody was happy. So what I want to talk about is that there's this thing in Hollywood and in just like the woke community where they're taking all of these properties that they quote unquote find problematic, and they're trying to either gender swap or just try to make things equal or however they want to do it. And normally I wouldn't have a problem with that. Again, as a black person, I don't mind seeing representation in the shows that I watch if it's done well and if it's not to the detriment of the actual original source material. What I mean by that is, if you're going to just do a fucking gender swap just so that you can get brownie points to a certain segment of Twitter followers who don't even actually consume the actual shit that you're trying to pander to, that's a problem to me. Like, and again, and the same thing is like, they've been doing this for such a long time. Marvel is doing it. Cartoon Network was doing it for such a long time. And I'm like, I just don't understand what the end game is for this. Because I'm like, stop rebooting these 80s shows that was targeted to a certain audience, basically saying, fuck you guys, we want you to watch, but fuck you for story content. We want you to buy the toys, because again, let me be clear. This He-Man show is made because they want to sell toys, and I'm a toy guy. Let me be clear. Like, again, I am invested in this show being successful, okay? But if this show sucks, I'm not going to watch the show for part 2, and I'm damn sure not going to support the toy line. So, again, fair warning. Let me go back. So, first, I mean, this started way back, but one of the other big things that they did was they rebooted Thundercats, and they tried to do this like, and again, I've done a video on this before. You guys can find it in my my history, but they tried to do a reboot of Thundercats, and they did this shit called Thundercats Roar. And that shit was just absolute garbage. I knew from the first fucking trailer that this was just some sort of like pandering thing to try to do to kids because of Steven Universe and because of Teen Titans Go was so popular that they decided, hey, let's do this with Thundercats, but just do it more derpy, more retarded, and then let's just try to get these kids to watch. Because, you know, the kids these days, the kids when that show came out are just like all scatterbrained and bullshit. So I told myself, I was like, I'm not watching this show. I told anybody who followed me, do not watch this fucking show. And thankfully that show got canceled after one season. It's gone. We don't ever have to talk about it again. Fuck you, Thundercats Roar. Then Marvel started doing the same thing, most recently with Black Widow, where, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen a Black Widow movie, the character of Taskmaster, who throughout the comic history has been a guy, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they tried to do the whole thing that I now hate with a fucking passion, which is try to do a big M. Night Shyamalan twist and, you know, decide to make Taskmaster a girl. On the surface, Taskmaster being a girl, I'm not a fan of it, but if it was done well, I could have gotten with it. But not only did they just tack that on there at the end, they even screwed up the power set by saying it's not an actual skill that she has. It's basically a computer program that they plugged into her fucking head that basically makes her character useless. Because again, she's not Taskmaster. The program is Taskmaster. So they can use that same program in any other person and get the same exact results, which makes her whole existence nothing but pandering to a certain group of people who want to see these gender swaps. It's dumb. So that was that. Then also in Marvel, you now see them doing this more and more with the Flag Smashers and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where the main Flag Smasher was a girl. They did a gender swap on that. And then they also have this whole thing where they're queer pandering or queer baiting. And again, and I'm starting to see a pattern where it's always got to be black people too. So like in the new Eternals movie, the only Eternal that's a person of color, or I shouldn't say a person of color, that's black, is gay. Again, nothing against gay people at all. I'm just making this an observation for you guys. There's a pattern here. Only black Eternal has to be gay. Sure. Okay. Now, again, I'm gotten off track with that, but again, I'm building up to this. So Grace Randolph, again, who I've already talked about, has come out and she's basically proven everything that we've been saying about this show for the past year has been true. She confirmed that Teela is the main character. She said that there were 2 twists. She said at the beginning there's a twist that she totally saw coming, and then there was a twist at the end that she did not see coming, but she was not happy with the twist. And my prediction, and again, if this is true, I'm 100% not going to watch part 2. I don't know if I'm going to watch part 2 at all, but again, I'm trying to keep an open mind until I actually watch the series. But again, if what she is saying is true, and again, she didn't actually say what it was, but my guess is that they kill Adam or they kill He-Man, and then they make Teela the new He-Man or a Man-at-Arms, or she gets the power sword and becomes the new whatever her version of whoever that He-Man is. So my guess is that Prince Adam or He-Man dies at the end of the series, and in part 2 is Teela completely taking over and running the rest of the show. And again, she also said, and again, I agree 100% that, you know, Kevin Smith has been basically trying to run this down so that there's not a lot of controversy. And again, I think to an extent he realized that there's going to be a lot of blowback from this, but I don't think I don't think the storyline enough is going to justify the backlash that's going to come from this show. And again, I want to make it clear, like, you guys have Hollywood, you guys have to realize is that you're playing to the minority. The people that you're trying to impress, the new fan base that you're trying to bring in, they don't care about your show. They don't. They didn't care about She-Ra reboot enough to keep that one going. The toy sales were garbage. I remember those She-Ra toys were in the bargain bins within like a month. Like, nobody was buying that shit. So you weren't making money off of that, and then the show is not getting enough viewership to continue. And this is going to end up being the same thing, because again, you keep burning bridges with the original people who are the people who are bringing the butts to the seats. The same thing with Marvel. You can't keep insulting us and trying to say that this show is not for us, but you make it for, you try to force it down our throats that, oh, we're not being acceptive of other cultures, and we're not of other, and even though that's not the case at all, and then you sit there and you try to insult us by saying this show is not for you, but you want us to watch it. And then if the show bombs, then you're gonna write your articles and you're gonna try to say, oh, these guys just didn't want to accept that a woman was the number 1 person on the show. No, Teela this Masters of the Universe is about He-Man. It was about He-Man in the 80s, and if you watch that trailer, that first fucking trailer, it was very He-Man centric. So you want to get us in there, but then you don't want us to. Then you want us to be able to accept Teela and her black girlfriend. Again, that's what I'm talking about. Only black character in the show, other than Clamp Champ, the Token, and she's the gay person. So I can just I totally see these guys in the damn writers' room, and it's like, all right, guys, how do we incorporate a gay? She's got to be black and she's gay, so it's like a 2-for-1. But we're going to do it overtly so that the guys can't get really upset that they're gay. We'll just make it so overtly gay that it's not enough that we can say, hey, they didn't really get together. They never confirmed the relationship, but hey, I'm just so frustrated. Okay, so again, this is going to be a 2-parter, all right? So again, this is just a preview. I wanted to just kind of talk about the controversy, and I am going to do a full review of this on Friday, so just make sure you guys stay tuned. And again, one of the other things, let me before I end this, let me talk about one other thing that I found very funny. So one of the big things that they did, not only did they do a flip and switch with He-Man and Teela, but then they decided to do a race swap with Teela's friend, and basically her bloodline originates back to the original Master of Grayskull, who was a white guy, or who was white back in the day, and they made him black. And then that's who she is. She's a descendant of that person. So then it's like, okay, maybe she's going to have a big role in this, and she's going to be side by side with Teela. She's going to have a big major part. No. According to Grace Randolph, this chick basically doesn't even have any lines. She's another Token. She's another Clamp Champ. She basically has a couple of lines at the beginning and then basically doesn't even talk. So again, it just goes to show that you guys did not care about adding in a actual character of depth. You could have, if you were going to do that, you could have just created a brand new character and done nothing. But you guys, it's like you guys wanted to take the lazy way out and basically just said, we're going to make her gay, we're going to make her black, and then, hey, we've hit all our points, we'll throw on her show and she ain't got to say shit. Done. See, we're hip, we're woke. Fuck out of here. Again, I'm trying to save most of the rage for the actual show because again, I'm not 100% sure because again, I haven't watched it yet. This is all based off of what Grace is saying. But again, I trust her and she wouldn't make this shit up like Kevin Smith. Fuck you, Kevin Smith. So again, stay tuned for part 2. We're going to get into this more. Rate, comment, subscribe. This is Shut Up the King, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Fucking hell.